Welcome back to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you the player ratings for Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Everton 3. Our first away win of the season on the road at Molineux, and it's 3 wins in a week for Everton. Let's get straight into it with today's player ratings, and we'll start with Jordan Pickford in goal. I'm going to give him a 7, purely because it was a big save at the end to keep it 3-2 when we were really backs to the wall. We were under the cosh late on at that game, and Jordan Pickford pulled out a very good save to deny Wolves. A solid performance. I think if you're looking at the 2 goals he did concede, you look at the first one, it was just a well-struck shot from Hwang Chan. And then the second one, it's kind of bobbled into the ground and bounced up over him. So not really a lot you can do, Jordan Pickford. So I think a 7 is probably a fair assessment of his performance. But moving into the defence now, we'll start with Vitaly Mykolenko, and I'm going to give him a 6. Not too bad, not fantastic from Vitaly Mykolenko. I think it was just a decent, consistent performance from him. It was good to see him back in there. Obviously, a bit of a lengthy spell out due to injury, coming back obviously in midweek for the Mansfield game in the Carabao Cup. And then it's also good to see him back getting in some minutes in the league. I think it was good to see the balance of defence come back. We had James Garner at left back for the Brighton game, and listen, James Garner had a fantastic performance against Brighton, but I think for me personally, I like to see a bit of balance in the defence. And you're looking at Jake O'Brien on the right hand side. He's a natural centre half, so having a natural centre half and then a centre midfielder at left back, there was the balance issues in the defence were quite visible. So it's good to see Mykolenko back in there, but for me, I think he should do better for their second goal. I think he should be more alert, more switched on. So that's why I'm going to give him a 6. Then moving to Michael Keane and James Tarkowski. We'll start with Keane. I'm going to give him a 6 as well. I would have given Michael Keane a 5 because I thought he struggled at times. I think again he can do better for the second goal as well. But for me, he was instrumental in Jai's goal in the first half. The second goal that we scored in the afternoon, he was instrumental in winning the ball back there. So that's why I've given Michael Keane a 6. A bit of an up and down performance for Michael Keane, but there's no doubt about it. He worked so hard in that first half to get the ball back, and it was a main reason why we did go 2-1 ahead. And then James Tarkowski, I'd give him a 6 as well. He's slowly getting back to full fitness now, James Tarkowski, after obviously missing the entirety of pre-season. I think it was pretty much every game he missed in pre-season. It was bar the Roma game, I think he was back for, but he was pretty solid yesterday. A pretty standard performance from James Tarkowski. I do think he will look a little bit better when Jared Brandthwaite is back alongside him. But yeah, James Tarkowski gets a 6 from me. And then Jake O'Brien, I've give him a 7. I thought he was up and down quite well, very rarely beaten in any duels. So for me, it was a very consistent, solid performance from Jake O'Brien. So he gets a 7 and is probably the best performing defender for me. But moving away from that now, moving into the midfield, we'll go into James Garner, and I'm going to give him an 8. I think he was fantastic. Obviously, he was very good last weekend, getting on the score sheet against Brighton, scoring a great goal. But for me, I thought he was fantastic back in midfield against Wolves. He was here, there, and everywhere, really tenacious, winning the ball, and then off the ball as well. His positioning, I thought, was really good. He does all the simple things well for me, James Garner, and he's really putting in consistent performances this season. So long may it continue. He seems to be building a good platform and getting into David Moyes' good books. So yeah, for me, it was a decent performance against Wolves, and that's why I've given him an 8. And then also Idrissa Gana Gueye, I've given him a 7. I've purely given him a 7 because he's just solid as ever. I thought he was really consistent. I did think we lost our shape a little bit when he did go off. I think we lost that little bit of intensity in midfield. We lost that little bit of defensive solidity. So for me, Idrissa Gana Gueye is just irreplaceable in this team. So good. We know how good he is, Idrissa Gana Gueye, but I've given him a 7 for yesterday's performance because I thought he was fantastic. And then moving into the attacking midfielder, DEWSBURY-HALL, I'd give him a 9. Fantastic to see his first goal in an Everton shirt, but the way he links up with Grealish and Njai, it's just absolutely unreal to see. We've got a real good player on our hands there. It's an absolute breath of fresh air seeing him in the number 10, especially when you look at, we had Abdoulaye Doucouré in there last season, and Doucouré was great for a structure and he was great for setting the press, but DEWSBURY-HALL is just another level in terms of ability on the ball. So that's why I've given him a 9 yesterday. I thought he was fantastic, and to see him get that goal, to see him get the first goal in an Everton shirt was just the icing on the cake for the performance. But moving into the front three now, we'll start with Jack Grealish, and here's another one that I'm giving a 9. Just an absolute class act, isn't he, Jack Grealish? I'm running out of words to describe how good he is. Another fantastic performance, and 2 assists to go with it. Yeah, listen, we've fallen in love with a lone player, haven't we, Blues? I said this yesterday. The one thing that you can't do is fall in love with a lone player, especially one with a £50 million buy option. But we've all done it. We're all so delighted to have Jack Grealish here, and I think he's delighted to be here. You're looking at the social media post he's done in the last 24 hours. I think he's just buzzing to be playing in an Everton shirt week in, week out. So long may it continue. But as I said before, fantastic yesterday. A great platform for having a really successful spell here at Everton, and I don't even think he's got out of first gear yet. If I was looking at some clips when he was at Aston Villa back in the day, he was really quick, he was really direct in his running. He sometimes seems a little bit tentative to really put the afterburners on at the moment. Maybe that's just due to a little bit of lack of match sharpness, but there's no doubt about it. There's a top player in there, and we're already seeing the effects of Jack Grealish in this team. So a 9 for me for Jack Grealish. And then moving to Iliman and Jai off the left-hand side, I'm going to give him an 8. It was a great finish and a class celebration. But he looks a little bit more free for me this season. Listen, last season we knew he was our best player, and I think every time we got the ball, we tried to find him and just sort of said, please do something. Just try and bail us out of any situation you can. But now, because the shackles have sort of been taken off him, and he's not all the hopes of Everton are pinned on him. I think he's free to express himself a little bit more, and I thought he was fantastic once again yesterday. Maybe a little bit worse than Jack Grealish, but not too far behind. So that's why I've differentiated it and given him an 8. And then moving to Beto, I'm going to give him an 8 as well. A great goal, and he was a nuisance all afternoon long until he got subbed off for Thierno Barry. He was just an absolute thorn in the side of the Wolves defence, and it was a huge confidence boost for him. I said after the Mansfield game that him getting on the score sheet late on was a real big confidence boost, and you could see that yesterday. He was playing with that weight off his shoulders a little bit. So listen, I know it's only Wolves, and if he comes up against like a top team like Liverpool or Chelsea or Arsenal, I think he might struggle a little bit more against those kind of defences. But yesterday, I thought it was really good to see him get on the score sheet, and again, just another platform to build on as a little bit of confidence boost. But moving away from the starting 11 now, we'll go to the substitutions. We'll start with Thierno Barry. I'm going to give him a 6. It didn't really have a lot to do, didn't really have any chances. But I just, every time I watch him, you can see how intelligent he is with his running. We were in backs to the wall mode when he did come on, and I think his hold up play was decent. It came back a few times, but when we were trying to protect that lead, I think Thierno Barry being up there did help us more than it hindered us. So not a lot to do in front of goal really, but that's why I've given him a 6. Thierno Barry, and a pretty solid performance coming on off the bench. And then also Timmy Rabunam, I've given him a 6, but we did notice a little bit of drop off in quality when Idrissa Gana Gueye went off. That's why I've differentiated between Idrissa Gana Gueye getting a 7 and Timmy Rabunam getting a 6. He did struggle a little bit at times, but listen, Timmy Rabunam, he's a young player. He's still playing his trade. Maybe a loan deal might be more beneficial. Let's just see, obviously, what transpires in between now and the end of the transfer window tomorrow. But there's no doubt about it. Tim Rabunam, he's getting consistently better. He just needs either consistent game time or a loan deal, in my opinion. But no, it was a decent performance coming on, but a little bit of a drop off in quality. Than Idrissa Gana Gueye, so I've given him a 6. And then the final two is Carlos Alcaraz and Seamus Coleman. I actually think it's probably unfair to rate them. Seamus Coleman, I think it was the 95th minute he came on, so it's definitely unfair to rate him. But Charlie Alcaraz didn't have a lot to do. He got about the pitch and put himself about a little bit, but to put a number on that is kind of unfair on him. So that wraps up the player ratings for Wolves 2, Everton 3. Let me know your thoughts on the ratings in the comments. Obviously, my man of the match in that one is probably Jack Grealish. I think he was the most influential out of all the players on the pitch, getting 2 assists. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts in the comments about who you thought played the best. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.